start off by sharing how my morning started, because we were planning to meet and record, and then all of a sudden my washing machine didn't empty, and when I opened it, the water was all over the floor, and then the water in our granny flat wasn't working, and I've got to get a dog to the vet, and I've got a sick cat over here, and then I've got my own life, and I've got to, and this is the way I kind of felt. And at the same time, I listened to a very precious mom and her message of how overwhelmed she feels just with 3 little ones and making decisions for next year, to start homeschooling, and illness and this and that and the next thing. And I just thought, it really doesn't matter which season of life we're in. Me with my older children, young moms, there's always going to be those pressures that are going to come and push on us from the outside. And sometimes it's not as bad, and there's no sickness, and things can trot along merrily, and you feel great. And then in times of great pressure, we can really feel like we're going to bend under the pressure. And I thought that we could maybe just give a few things to encourage, and we do this often with moms, to encourage them that this too shall pass, how to get through it, and is choosing that curriculum the most important thing that you need to worry about now. So I'm going to give that to you, because you did your time in the trenches with lots of little ones. So let's see where it goes.
Yeah, I think, I also have days even now with my kids that are 12 and up, and I always feel like we haven't done all the things that I wanted to do. But then I have to reevaluate what's really the most important. And I recently read about a mother who was diagnosed with the terminal disease, and she posted on a homeschooling group, and she said, I always worried that I wasn't doing enough, but now I'm so glad for all those days that I just spent with my kids. How many pages in the book she finished actually is immaterial now that she knows that her time with her kids is limited. And I don't wish that on anybody, but I think we all need to realize that our time with our kids is limited, because they grow up and they eventually leave. Yeah. And so we should just value these days, and we will get to the end of home education eventually. And it doesn't matter how full your bucket is, as long as you've equipped your kids with the skills they need to fill in the gaps that they need to fill in for their purposes later on, you're doing okay. So yeah, we always compare with other people and think they're doing more because they're doing different things. But actually, we're probably doing okay, even with the days when the washing machine floods the floor and all of that.
Yeah, I really like that you're just doing different things. Yeah, 100%. And the other thing that I would say is that we need to remember that these are the children that the Lord has given us, not somebody else's kids. So the thing that is important for us to remember is that the children that are in our home are our children, the ones that the Lord has given us to shepherd and to guide into adulthood. And their path is not going to look like somebody else's path. That's the first thing that when you kind of like, oh my gosh, look what everybody else is doing. The other thing is washing machines will always break, whether it's a washing machine or a car tire. And we need to show our children in that situation the grace that we can go through these things, these curveballs in life, with grace and perhaps with a sense of humor. And then the last thing, when our children are small, sickness is part of the natural process of building those antibodies and that sort of thing. And hospital visits happen. We had 6 hospital visits for one child between 8 months and 13 months. And at the time, you're so completely drowning in that situation, and yet you look back now years later and you think, wow, the Lord actually carried me through that, but also this too will pass. So just keep that thing in your mind, that this is not what it's going to be like forever. The challenges are going to be different, sometimes bigger, but it's not going to be like that forever. We were both having a good chuckle here, and I think it's probably good to say that we've been recording this, and in it it's going to be edited, but we've had 2 lovely interruptions just happening. And I think that's the lesson, isn't it? That interruptions happen, and life happens, and we need to just walk through it with a sense of humor and a bit of grace, and understanding that this too shall pass.